Shabbat Shalom and welcome. We're not together tonight in person, but we are together in a communal sense, in a spiritual sense, and in a virtual sense. And although it's not quite as good, I think we're all catching on to the technology, and we're together across the divide of our computer or telephone screens. Shabbat Shalom. Today is Friday, April 3rd, and it's our second Shabbat service on our website on the computer. And this coming Wednesday is the first Seder. And I don't have to tell you that this is going to be an incredibly unusual Passover because everything is different. And that's just so consistent with the themes of Pesach that it's really unbelievable almost. We ask in the Passover Seder, Ma nishtana? How is this night different from all other nights? And we have our course in the Seder, our set answers. So we said on all other nights we just eat. On this night we lean to the side, kind of as royalty, because the Passover Seder is, according to many historians' views, a model of the Roman symposium. So it was designed to be a meal for royalty, a meal of luxury, a meal of relaxation, a meal where we could say, here we are with our family and our friends, and we survived, right? The old joke is, the short version of the Seder is, they tried to kill us, we survived, and now let's eat, which maybe is funny, maybe not. But in any case, we say, how is this night different from all other nights? And there's other ways that it's different, of course. On Passover, we eat matzah. On the rest of the year, we eat bread, and so forth. We have 4 cups of wine, all sorts of difference. And we read the Haggadah. It's not usual that every time we sit down for a meal that we have a full-blown liturgy as part of that. And yet this is a beloved liturgy, even though people may complain. When can we eat? There was a film a number of years ago with that title. The whole film was said as a part of a long Passover Seder. It's recommended if you have access to it and you're looking to catch up on some Jewish films. But even though we may get hungry, waiting for the Seder food to begin, the actual meal, we remember it. And particularly as children, we remembered it. And yet, one of the central components of the Seder is the not the 10 commandments, the 10 plagues, dam, svardea, kinim, and so forth. And these 10 plagues, we sing them or we chant them, and we take our pinky and we dip it into the wine, and then we put a little bit of the red wine on the plate, right? You remember that. And yet it's a ritual reenactment of an ancient myth. We don't know if the Passover events that are described took place as they're described in the Torah or the Haggadah, or if they took place at all. And it really doesn't matter one way or the other, because it's what has become a central part of our Jewish religious narrative. And so it happened whether it happened or not. And it happened exactly the way we describe it in the Seder, whether it happened that way or not. The actual events, whatever they were, 3,300 years ago, are secondary to the memory of those events. And yet, this year is fundamentally different because we're not just reciting a liturgy, and reenacting something from long ago, this concept of the 10 plagues has taken on a new and very, very frightening reality as we're facing an 11th plague, coronavirus. And every day the news becomes more and more frightening. The overflowing emergency rooms, the lack of hospital supplies, the doctors and nurses getting sick and in many cases dying. It's frightening. It's almost straight out of one of those science fiction movies where a virus spread, an unknown virus spreads across the world. The only difference, I'm trying to be funny, is that in the case of most of those films, the people that survive the virus turn into zombies, and we haven't seen that yet. But in a serious vein, this is something which is a tremendous threat to all of us, not just our health, but our very lives. And so it's important that we take measures that we can take, primarily distancing, meaning staying at home and staying away from people. And so the more we can do that, the better it'll be. And even though a vaccine may be 12 to 18 months away, it seems pretty likely that in 2 or 3 months they'll have a better idea of how to treat it. There'll be certain medicines that will be found to be efficacious, and that at the first signs of symptoms you could take, perhaps a combination of certain pills, and it will fight off the virus more successfully than certainly what we have now. So the best policy is just to wait and to hope. And we Jews are very good at hope. We're filled with hope and optimism. And so we want to measure that, on the other hand, with careful measures. We want to be cautious, and we want to stay away from people. And so this year is a Passover of relative solitude. It's a Passover of serious reflection. It's a Passover which shares, perhaps in certain ways, some of the themes of Yom Kippur, who will live and who will die. Except it's not necessarily based on ethical and moral merit, but rather on who can be sufficiently cautious. And so we want to turn at this time of fright and concern to Jewish tradition. And you can access a lot of materials online. If you want to, I'm always trying to be accessible, so you can email me, text me, call me, however you want to be in touch, and I'll try to provide you with some reading materials, ebooks that are free and that you can download from the email or from the Google Drive straight onto your computer and read them. There's videos as well. We're just starting our Kabbalah course, which you can speak to the Adult Education Committee, Joanne Gorelick, the chair, and see if you can sneak in a little bit late. And so this is a time to turn to the Jewish tradition for wisdom and for equanimity, a way to not ignore what's going on outside, but to balance that with love and with hope and with all of the positive attributes that we are known for and that Jewish tradition teaches and can inspire us at this time of need. And so that is my Shabbat message. I'm looking forward to next week. We're going to have our first virtual live Passover Seder. It's not going to have a lot of food, so you're going to have to make your own food. But other than that, it should provide a full Passover experience. We bought a new online Haggadah from the CCR Press, the Central Conference of American Rabbis Press, and it's got lots of pictures, and it's very clear, and it follows tradition very closely. And so we're excited about that. Andre Ivory's been doing a lot of work on that, and Cantor Borokartan is revving up his voice. And so the three of us and others should be able to deliver a full Seder experience. And so I want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom, and hopefully you have a challah, and if not, you can make a virtual challah with your hands. And I look forward to seeing you over Zoom at one of the programs that we're going to have, and also hopefully relatively soon in real life once again. And so for next week, a very happy, joyous, and especially healthy Passover. And for tonight, a Shabbat Shalom. Bye-bye.